check out our streaming schedule for this week. We've got tons of content in terms of the NFL and college football, as we're going live just about every single day this week. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single moment where we go live. And now, on with our feature presentation. November 7, 2024. It's week 10 in the NFL season, and as we're officially in the second half of the year, we've got an AFC North battle on our hands between two bitter rivals in the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. For the Bengals, to say that this is a big game, especially after losing to the Ravens in overtime earlier in the season, would be putting it lightly. And not just for revenge purposes. As things stand, in a very weak AFC, the Bengals enter this one with a 4-5 record. Win this game and get back to 500 for the first time all season, and you're right back in the thick of things when it comes to the playoff picture. Lose this one and drop to 4-6, and yeah, the road isn't getting any easier, I'll put it that way. This feels like a make-or-break game for the Bengals in many ways. And speaking of pivotal moments like the game between these two teams behind me right here, if you want to learn more about pivotal moments throughout NFL history, from this season to previous seasons, then this is the place for you because we talk about all things NFL history all the time with a new video every single day. So if you like that sort of stuff, then be sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we post on the channel. Thanks in advance for your support as we try and hit 70,000 subscribers. As for how this game was going, the Bengals and the Ravens were neck and neck, tied 7-all with 44 seconds left. On third down, Joe Burrow hits his rookie wideout Jermaine Burton for a gain of 11. And just like that, the Bengals have it at the 3-yard line. Alright, this is really good. This is exactly what you want if you're Cincy. The Ravens have no timeouts left, and you're right by the goal line. So you can kill some clock here and score a touchdown, and ensure the fact that the Ravens don't get another chance to touch the ball for the remainder of the half. And
grab of the night.
There's the rookie.
You called timeout? You called timeout with 36 seconds left? But why? Why the heck would you do that? Why would you give the Ravens another chance to touch the ball? Why the actual heck would you give them a possession to do something when you didn't have to? Just out of curiosity, when do they end up getting the ball? Yeah, that's what I freaking thought. Welcome to dumb decisions. Before we break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something to look bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something to look awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're going to take a look at the mind of Cincinnati Bengals head coach Zac Taylor. This is a Bengals team that, let's call it for what it is, should be a heck of a lot better than they are now. Taylor should be guiding this team to the postseason with ease. Instead, 10 games into the season, and the Bengals have yet to beat a team with more than 2 wins, and have yet to beat anyone that can even be considered below average, let alone good. I'm not sure if Taylor's seat is hot, simply because Mike Brown gave Marvin Lewis a gajillion years at head coach, and might not want to fire Taylor because he's cheap. But man, his coaching has cost the Bengals quite a few games. From questionable 4th down decisions, to play calls like this game where the Bengals were on the outside of field goal range by 2 yards, and decided to throw on 3rd and long instead of running it to just get into range, and a decision to go for on 4th down after throwing it on 2nd and 3 and 3rd and 3, and then throwing it again on 4th and 3, never running the ball once in that stretch. The coaching for the Bengals was less than ideal on this day, and it was especially true during this sequence right here. So with that being said, let's take a look at why calling a timeout with 36 seconds left is a really bad idea. At the end of the day, football is a game of possessions. You win the game by having the ball and scoring points with it. An easy way to stop the other team from scoring is to not let them touch the ball. Seems pretty straightforward. If the other team doesn't touch the ball, then they can't score points and can't do anything on offense. Baltimore gets the ball to start the second half, so they're going to start the half with possession and a chance to do something. If you're Cincinnati, you don't want to give them another possession if you don't have to, and you don't want to give them a chance to double dip. It's a balancing act, because on the other hand, you want to have enough time to score points yourself, and you don't want to minimize the number of plays available at your disposal to try and do something yourself. So you have to utilize the clock in a way that not only guarantees the fact that you'll have enough plays to score, but guarantees the fact that the opposition will not be able to do anything, especially seeing as the opposition has no timeouts to work with. There is a finite end to the drive. You're at the 3-yard line, which means that there are 4 plays maximum that are left. After 4 plays, either you will have scored or you will not have scored. But it's not as though you're at the 23-yard line where you don't know how many plays are left. All that can happen is 1st and goal, 2nd and goal, 3rd and goal, and 4th and goal. There are no other first downs to make, and there are no more boundaries to cross. You either punch it in after 4 plays, or you don't. So you need to give yourself enough time to get all 4 plays in if necessary, while not putting time on the clock for the Ravens to march down the field themselves and get something going. If you call a play with, let's say, 20 seconds left, that gives you plenty of time to try something and get all 4 plays off. Assuming each play takes 6 seconds, if you don't punch it in by 3rd down, you'd be calling the 4th down play with 2 seconds left. If something bad happens, at least you have a timeout at your disposal. In that scenario, not only do you get all 4 plays off, but the Ravens would have no time to do anything whatsoever if and when you kick it back to them. That's what any sane coach would do in this situation. However, in a situation that was almost identical to what happened during Monday night's game between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner, that is not what happened. Not in the slightest bit. Because Zac Taylor decided to do something stupid and decided to call a timeout right away with 36 seconds. Suppose you score a touchdown on the very first play. Alright, that's good. You got the lead and you did what you had to do. However, good job, because now, thanks to poor timeout management, the Ravens are going to get it back at the 30-yard line off of a touchback with 30 seconds left, giving them plenty of time to get 25 yards or so to get into field goal range and steal some points on a possession that you did not have to give them. If you used the timeouts properly, the Ravens would have just taken a knee when they got it back and wouldn't have had a chance to double dip. Now, you gave them that opportunity. Now, you gave them that chance for no reason whatsoever. Honestly, what would the risk have been to calling a play with 20 seconds left versus calling a timeout with 36 seconds left like you ended up doing? Because you don't need 36 seconds to run 4 plays from the 5-yard line. There is none. Both options guarantee the fact that you'll be able to call 4 plays and be able to do the maximum number of plays possible on the drive if it comes down to that. But one option guarantees the fact that the other team can't get points themselves, while the other option doesn't. I would say to evaluate the pros and the cons, but both options pose the same exact pros, and one option has significantly fewer cons. It's baffling to me as to why you would allow Baltimore to get a chance to touch the ball and do something for no reason. You want to know what it reminds me of? It's like if you're trying to get an item on eBay. You can buy the item for $25, or you can bid on the item for $25. Why the heck would you bid instead of buy? Why would you give someone else a chance to snipe you and steal it from you? The pros are the same. You get the item for $25, but in one option, you give another person a chance to get it for no reason whatsoever. And that's what Zac Taylor did here. And sure enough, because of Zac Taylor's idiotic timeout management by calling it way too quickly, the Ravens get the ball and have it with 12 seconds left near midfield. They have time to try 2 plays before needing to kick a field goal, which again, may remind you, they would not have had a chance of doing if it wasn't for this man right here in Zac Taylor. All the Ravens need here is a few yards, maybe 10 or so in 2 plays, and they can send Justin Tucker out there and attempt to steal 3 points and double dip with the ball coming out of the halftime break. So, first down for the Ravens with no timeouts at the 47 after this man's mistake. Let's see if the Ravens can capitalize on the Bengals' mistake. Let's see if they can make this dumb decision on paper even dumber than it already was. Let's see what they draw up here.
Unless you want to fling a Hail Mary. Instead, they work the middle, but the tackle is made inbounds.
You've got to be kidding me. Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Again. Before I break down what happened here, yada yada yada, John Harbaugh, what the actual heck is this? Seriously, why on earth would you have a play in this spot where someone is catching the ball over the middle of the field? The plan here made no sense whatsoever. Step 1, have Deontay Johnson catch it over the middle, knowing that if he gets tackled in bounds, the half is over, and you're not going to have any time to send the field goal unit out there or spike the ball. Step 2, after Johnson catches the ball, have Zay Flowers set a block, as in a receiver who is 5'9" and might be the worst receiver that you have on the field capable of doing that due to his size. Step 3, if Flowers does somehow set that block, by the time that Johnson goes out of bounds, Johnson would still be well short of the target line, needed to try a field goal. The risk reward here is astonishing. I genuinely can't believe it. Instead of just trying to play to the sideline to get a few yards, you're going to try a play over the middle of the field to get to the sideline, kill some clock, and get a few yards? It's like the mystery box from Family Guy all over again. A play to the sidelines is a play to the sidelines, but the mystery box could be anything. It could even be a play to get to the sidelines. The problem with this play is twofold. Number 1, obviously, if you get tackled in bounds, the half is over. But number 2, because this drag route and this play is so heavily reliant on yards after the catch, even if you do get out of bounds, you might not have time for 2 plays to get into field goal range. You might only have time for 1. And it'd be one thing if the drag route would get you directly into field goal range when caught, and that's a risk that you'd be willing to take. If the drag route would get you to the 40-yard line, and then if the receiver got out, you'd be able to try the field goal, okay, that's one thing. But I just don't get the purpose of this play. With how short this pass was, nothing that Deontay Johnson could have done would have gotten them into field goal range, even if Zay Flowers set the block. And again, Flowers is not the person you want blocking in this spot for obvious reasons. A tackle, and the half is over. Out of bounds, and you're still shy of field goal range. And you might not even have enough time to call another play, so you've just got to sell for a Hail Mary attempt. This play served no purpose except to hurt the Ravens. I don't understand the concept here. I just don't. There's no scenario where this play works, and you're in field goal range with the clock stopped. This was a wasted play with no timeouts, and with that little time left. The Bengals gave you a golden opportunity with how they squandered the situation by going too quickly. And you decided to blow it and make it all for nothing. So, good job there, Ravens. You really outdid yourselves on this one. And what's truly insane about the game between these two teams behind me right here is just how many coaching blunders there were on both sides of the ball. I already touched on the Bengals coaching blunders, but the Ravens had quite a few of their own, because that situation at the end of the first half doesn't happen if the Ravens are smarter with their timeouts, because they had none left going into that final play. Now, one of those timeouts was because of a Kyle Hamilton injury inside of 2 minutes. Nothing you can do about that one. You got to pass for that. But the other two, I mean, they burned 2 timeouts in the first 5 minutes of the game before they even went on offense. One was on a challenge for a play that was a 2 or 3 yard difference, which I'll talk about in a future video. And the other one was a play that they called timeout on that would have been a 1 yard penalty if they didn't call the timeout. So really bad timeout management on the part of the Ravens. Really questionable timeout part on the Ravens with their time management. And yeah, not a good situation in terms of managing the timeouts whatsoever, as the Ravens could not walk away with the points as a result of it. So what do we learn from all of this on a double dumb decisions for both of these coaches right here? If you have the chance to deny the other team at getting an extra possession and an extra chance at touching the football, then you do it. For the love of God, you do it. Especially if it poses no risk to you whatsoever and doesn't change how you approach your offense or how many plays you have on the offensive side of the ball. Just because the clock is running doesn't mean you have to call the timeout right away. And we've seen too many coaches think that way for some inexplicable reason. And then, on the flip side, if you have no timeouts and no time on the clock, then don't call a play over the middle of the field where not only do you need to have a lot happen to get the slightest bit successful, but even where it is successful and gets out of bounds, it doesn't advance the field position to where you need it to be. If the best case scenario in a middle of the field play is that you get out of bounds, then maybe, just maybe, you should call a different play. This game was great and was one of the best Thursday night games ever played, but the ending of this first half on both sides was nothing short of coaching malpractice. Because when all these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a double dumb decision. Be sure to like and subscribe if you have not done so already, as it helps the channel out a lot, and check out my other channels, JG8 for the history of college football, JG7 for the history of baseball, and JG9 News, where we talk about all things happening in the NFL. Join me every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we'll play live NFL trivia for cash prizes. And make sure to join me live as we're on stream just about every single day. And thanks to all our Patreon members and our YouTube members for helping out the channel. See how you become a member and show your support financially in the description down below.